Part 1. Hey, you're not alone in this spiral. Hey, what's up? So, picture this. It's 2 a.m., you're lying in bed, and your brain decides it's the perfect time to replay that awkward thing you said at work 3 weeks ago. Or maybe it's running a highlight reel of every what-if scenario for that decision you haven't even made yet. Sound familiar? Yeah, me too. Welcome to the wild world of overthinking population. All of us at some point. If you're here, chances are your mind's been doing some Olympic-level gymnastics lately, and I'm guessing you're ready to tell it to chill out for a sec. Good news. You're in the right place. Overthinking's sneaky, isn't it? 1 minute you're just wondering if you locked the door, and the next you're spiraling into whether you're secretly failing at adulting. It's like your brain's a DJ remixing the same track on repeat, but the beat's terrible and there's no off switch. I've been there. Like the time I spent an hour wondering if my friend was mad at me because she replied with K instead of okay. Spoiler, she wasn't. She was just lazy. But my brain, it had already written a novel about it. Here's the thing. Overthinking loves to make us feel like we're the only ones stuck in this loop. But trust me, you're not. Your roommate who's always got it together, they've probably overanalyzed something dumb too. That influencer you follow with the perfect life? Same deal. It's not a you problem, it's a human problem. And honestly, that's kind of comforting, right? We're all just stumbling through this mess together, trying not to let our brains run the show. So why do we do it? Well, overthinking's like that friend who means well but gives terrible advice. It tricks us into believing that if we just think hard enough, we'll solve everything. Past, present, future, you name it. Except it doesn't work that way. Instead, we end up with a mental traffic jam. Too many thoughts, no exits. And for us in our 20s and 30s, it's almost like the stakes feel higher. Jobs, relationships, figuring out who we're supposed to be. It's a lot. No wonder our brains are working overtime. But here's where it gets good. We don't have to stay stuck. Over the next few minutes, I'm going to walk you through how I've learned to quiet that noise. And trust me, if I can do it, you can too. We're not aiming for perfection here. We're just trying to get your brain to take a coffee break. Ready? Let's keep going, because the first step is realizing this spiral is not your boss. You can totally fire it. Part 2. Why your brain's playing detective and how to call it off. Alright, so we've established that overthinking's a universal vibe. Cool, we're all in this club together. But let's dig a little deeper. Why does it happen? Why does my brain decide that 10 p.m. is the perfect time to investigate whether I should have taken that other job offered 2 years ago? Spoiler, I don't have a time machine, so it's irrelevant. But my mind's out here acting like Sherlock Holmes with a caffeine addiction. Here's the deal. Our brains are wired to problem solve. Back in the day, that was clutch, like figuring out how to not get eaten by a saber-toothed cat. But now, the saber-toothed cats are gone, and instead, we're stressing about whether we sounded weird on that Zoom call. Evolution hasn't quite caught up, so our brains still think every little thing's a mystery to crack. That text you sent that got left on read? Your brain's like, time to analyze every word for hidden meanings. Meanwhile, your friend's just busy eating tacos. For a lot of us in our 20s and 30s, this detective mode kicks into overdrive because life's throwing curveballs left and right. We're juggling big decisions. Should I move? Should I swipe right on this person? Am I even good at my job? And our brains think overanalyzing will give us control. Newsflash, it won't. It's like trying to steer a car by staring at the rearview mirror. You're not going anywhere but in circles. So how do we call off the investigation? Step 1. Catch your brain in the act. Next time you're spiraling, just pause and say, oh hey, there you go again, detective brain. Naming it sounds silly, but it works. It's like shining a spotlight on the chaos. I tried this the other day when I was overthinking a presentation. I caught myself wondering if my boss secretly hated it, and I literally said out loud, nope, we're not doing this. Did I look ridiculous talking to myself in my apartment? Maybe. Did it stop the spiral? Yup, another trick. Give your brain a new case to solve, something chill. When I'm overthinking, I'll grab my headphones and blast a playlist that's all vibes, no stress. Or I'll text a friend something random like, pineapple on pizza. Yes or no? is not about ignoring the big stuff. It's about reminding your brain it doesn't have to crack every code right this second. We'll get into more of that next, because once you've got detective brain off the case, it's time to give it a real break. Stick with me. Part 3, Trading the Spiral for a Soft Landing. So, we've caught our brains playing detective, nice work. But now what? Telling it to stop is one thing. Actually getting it to chill is another. Think of it like this: your mind's been sprinting a marathon and we need to help it slow down to a cozy jog, or better yet, a nap. This part's all about trading that spiral for a soft landing. And trust me, it's way more fun than it sounds. First up, let's talk about breathing. I know, sounds basic, right? But hear me out. When I'm overthinking, my chest gets tight, like my thoughts are literally squishing me. A few slow, deep breaths can loosen that grip. Try this. Inhale for 4 seconds, hold it for 4, then exhale for 4. Do it a couple times. It's not magic, but it's pretty close. Your brain gets the memo that it's okay to relax. I started doing this when I'd catch myself stressing about dumb stuff, like whether I picked the wrong Netflix show to binge. Spoiler: there's no wrong choice when it's between Stranger Things and The Office. Next, let's get out of our heads and into the world. Overthinking loves to trap us in this little mental bubble, but doing something physical pops it real quick. I'm not saying you've got to run a 5K. Unless that's your thing, then go for it. For me, it's as simple as stretching on my floor while jamming to some tunes, or taking a walk and pretending I'm in a music video. The other day, I walked to get coffee and made up a whole storyline about being a secret agent. Did I solve world peace? No. Did I stop obsessing over that email I sent? Yes. And here's a big one: talk it out. I used to think bottling up my overthinking was the move, like if I don't say it out loud, it's not real. Wrong. Telling a friend, hey, my brain's being extra right now, is like hitting the release valve. They don't even have to fix it. Just hearing, dude, same, makes you feel less like you're losing it. Last week, I called my best friend freaking out about a date I overanalyzed to death. She laughed and said, he probably didn't even notice your awkward laugh. She was right. He didn't. The point is, you don't have to stay in that spiral alone. These little hacks, breathing, moving, talking, they're like a reset button. And they're not about fixing everything. They're about giving yourself a break. Up next, we'll wrap this up with how to keep the good vibes going, because you deserve more than just a quick fix. Let's roll. Part 4. Keeping the chill, because you've got this. Alright, we're in the home stretch. By now, you've caught your brain overthinking, told it to take a hike, and landed somewhere softer. But here's the real talk. Life's not going to stop throwing curveballs, especially in your 20s and 30s, when it feels like every week's a new plot twist. So how do we keep the chill long term? How do we make sure overthinking doesn't just sneak back in like that friend who always forgets their wallet? Let's lock this down. First, let's set some ground rules with your brain. Overthinking thrives on vague, endless questions, like, am I doing enough? Or what if I mess up? Those are traps. Instead, get specific. When I start spiraling about work, I ask myself, okay, what's one thing I can do tomorrow to feel good about this? Maybe it's sending an email or just showing up with coffee and a smile. Small wins beat big worries every time. It's like giving your brain a to-do list it can actually handle. Another game changer? Celebrate the mess. We're in this wild phase of life where we're supposed to have it all figured out, but also, like, not at all. So when I catch myself overthinking, like that time I stressed about not having a 5-year plan, I remind myself, dude, you're 27. You've got time. You don't have to have every answer right now. That job you're unsure about, that relationship you're overanalyzing, it's okay to just be in it and see where it goes. Progress, not perfection, right? And here's my favorite part. Build your chill toolkit. You've already got breathing and moving in your back pocket. Keep those handy. Add stuff that's just for you. For me, it's doodling random cartoons when my brain's loud, or watching old vines for a quick laugh. Find what lights you up. Maybe it's cooking, gaming, or scrolling TikTok for dog videos. The goal's not to avoid life's big stuff. It's to balance it with things that make you feel like you again. So, next time you're overthinking, remember this: you're not stuck. You've got the tools to catch it, shake it off, and keep rolling. Life's too short to let your brain DJ a bad remix. Switch the track. You're not alone in this, and you're doing better than you think. Take a deep breath, hit that like button if this vibe checked out for you, and let's keep the good energy going. What's your go-to way to shut down the spiral? Drop it in the comments. I'm all ears.